Hey everyone, it is Tim Grant, and I don't really know the date today, but anyways, it's in the down below description. So I have been talking about how I've had a lot of homework this past few weeks, really, before graduation, and so I decided that I am going to read you guys what I've been working on for. I've been doing a ton of stuff, like a bug project and research assignment for nuclear power and just a ton of stuff. But this is just one class, and I decided it's easy, so it's easy to read, so I might as well read it to you guys. And it's also going to double as my correcting time. I don't know where my pen went. Hold on a second. Okay. It's also my correcting time, so if I need to correct something, I can just make a change to it. Alright, so, yeah, here we go. So, my paper is in response to this book, or it's based off of this book, The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. It's a book about Vietnam, which you will see in here. Alright. It's titled The Things They Carried and the Vietnam War. Tim O'Brien is a great American writer. He wrote many types of stories, but he is most well known for his books about the Vietnam War. Tim O'Brien went to Vietnam and then, upon his return, wrote about his stories in Vietnam. His book caught on and made him famous. Tim O'Brien uses metafiction to share his stories about Vietnam and to critique the government's decision to go to war to fight off communism. Tim O'Brien was born in Austin, Minnesota on October 1st, 1946. He graduated at Macalester College of Political Science, with a political science degree. In 1968, he went to Vietnam and served in the 23rd Infantry Division. After he got out of the military in 1970, he went to Harvard University and got his graduate degree. He became well known with his release of his book, If I Die in a Combat Zone, Box Me Up and Ship Me Home. If I Die in a Combat Zone, Box Me Up and Ship Me Home is a book where Tim O'Brien recounts his experiences and the things that went on in Vietnam. It is a non-fictional autobiography of what Tim O'Brien went through while he was serving in the Vietnam War. Tim O'Brien grew up during the Korean War. The Korean War was a war between North and South Korea. The North was communist with other countries like the USSR, which by the way is Russia, and China. Now I got messed up. Like the USSR and China. Okay, I know what I was saying. The North was communist with countries like the USSR and China backing them. Okay, so China and the USSR were backing North Korea. Alright, while the South was capitalist and was backed by America and the United Kingdom. The reason why America got involved in Korea was because America was petrified of the spread of communism around the world. In fact, the Korean War, in a way, was not even between North and South Korea. The Korean War was more of a proxy war between America and the Soviet Union. America was in a Cold War with the Soviet Union. The USSR was a communist country and America was a capitalist nation. Our forms of government were polar opposites, and these countries were in a nuclear arms race between themselves. The Korean War was just a way for both nations to fight each other without actually fighting each other. Okay, the Korean War was just a way for both nations to fight each other without actually fighting each other directly. During this time period, people were practicing what to do if a nuclear bomb went off, and were making sure communism did not penetrate America. A good example of many Americans' fear of communism was McCarthyism. Joseph McCarthy was a U.S. senator and accused many people of being communists. People ranging from businessmen to famous people in Hollywood to political opponents. McCarthy said that he had a special list of people that were secret communists. If accused, the person accused would lose their job. This was the climate that Tim O'Brien grew up in. He grew up in a nation that was captivated by fear of anything communist. Once Tim O'Brien was old enough, he was drafted into Vietnam. He did not want to go to Vietnam at all. Before he was drafted, he would go around protesting the war in Vietnam. Then when he got his draft notice, he felt terrible. He thought that he should not have to go and fight a war that he was not in favor of in the first place. He states, "There should be a law," I thought. "If you support a war, if you think it's worth the price, that's fine. But you have to put your own precious fluids on the line." And that's located on the 42nd page of Things They Carried. Anyways, he thought that it was ridiculous that he had to go to Vietnam when he did not support it in the first place. He thought that if someone supported the war, then they should be willing to sign up themselves or have their loved ones sign up. He saw people who supported the war and were sending other people and their loved ones. He saw people who supported the war and were sending other people and their loved ones to war, but they themselves were not being affected by the war. An example of O'Brien's uses, I think this is a correction right here. An example of, oh, no, it's not. An example that O'Brien uses is Lyndon B. Johnson, which, by the way, is the president at this time. Okay. Tim says that if Lyndon B. Johnson supports the war and thinks that it is a good idea, then he should be willing to send his 2 daughters over to Vietnam and fight, instead of using his own daughters to fight the war that he got America into. He is forcing other people's kids to fight the war that he wants to wage. Tim O'Brien wrote many books about his experience while in Vietnam. The books that he has written pertaining about Vietnam, the Vietnam War are If I Die in a Combat Zone, Box Me Up and Ship Me Home, Northern Lights, Going After Caucasio, The Nuclear Age, and The Things They Carried. This book. The Things They Carried was a book about the things that soldiers in Vietnam carried. These things are not always physical. Tim O'Brien says, "They carried all the emotional baggage of men who died. Grief, terror, love, longing. These were intangibles. But in the intangibles had their own mass and specific gravity. They had tangible weight," which is located in the 21st page. Tim O'Brien was saying that although the soldiers were weighed down by physical things such as guns, ammunition for their guns, their food, and the rest of all their gear and equipment like helmets and coats, but the soldiers were also weighed down by things that come from within them. The soldiers were terrified of dying, sad from watching the people that they were friends with die right in front of them. They were also preoccupied with thoughts of the people that they loved back home. Their minds were not in the war. Instead, they are Instead, they are daydreaming about life back in America. I think that should be were. Yeah. Okay. Their minds were not in the war. Instead, they were daydreaming about life back in America. Then, the heaviest weight of all is, according to Tim O'Brien. Okay. The heaviest weight of all is, according to Tim O'Brien. Okay, take out an is. The heaviest weight of all, according to Tim O'Brien, is cowardice. Tim O'Brien says, they carried the common secret of cowardice, barely restrained. In many aspects, this was the heaviest burden of all. And, I didn't put a page number for that. Uh-oh. Okay, so I'm going to have to find where that is and cite it. Anyways, in the book, The Things They Carried, Tim O'Brien has a very interesting way of, and different way of telling the story about Vietnam. He tells stories from Vietnam through items the soldiers carried during Vietnam. He will take an item and then expound upon it. For example, Tim O'Brien talks about a photograph that First Lieutenant Jimmy Cross carried. This picture was of a girl named Martha. Tim O'Brien uses this to illustrate how most of the soldiers have people back home that they carried around as encouragement. Tim uses Jimmy Cross's love of Martha to demonstrate how life was in Vietnam. O'Brien uses the same format of telling stories for many different items, such as their guns, the things that they smoked for for entertainment and to keep calm, and the guilt and fear that they felt. O'Brien uses a literary technique called metafiction. The Things They Carried is a hybrid. Okay, that should be. Never mind. You can't see it, but I didn't. Titles of books need to be underlined. I didn't underline it. The Things They Carried is a hybrid mingle. Oh, never mind, because it's in a quote. Oh, I done goofed. The Things They Carried is a hybrid mingled of war. What is this? The Things They Carried is a hybrid mingling of war, memoir, and high-tech metafiction. Well, that was difficult to say. Anyways, so that is Bloom 72. Where do I have my source cited page? Okay, Bloom is a critique of The Things They Carried. So it's a book critiquing this book. So it's on page 72 of Bloom's book, which is titled Bloom's Guide, The Things They Carried. So, yeah. Anyways, metafiction is when something is made up, but it portrays itself as a work of art, while at the same time exposing the truth. The Things They Carried, again, should be underlined, did not actually happen. It is fiction, but it is used as a tool to expose the things that were going on in Vietnam. The Things They Carried fits right in line with the other works of literature of its time. The book tells about the lives of men who served in Vietnam, but it also has a critical view of the war and of the people who were starting and sending people to war. During Vietnam, there were many protests against the war. People were not happy about what was going on in the war. People felt that the Oh, people felt the same way as Tim O'Brien did about how people who support the war should have to be willing to fight. Keith Franklin wrote a letter saying, "If you are reading this letter, you will never see me again. The reason being that if you are reading this letter, I have died. The question is whether or not my death has been in vain. The answer is yes. The war that has taken my life and many thousands before me is immoral, unlawful, and autocracy. I have no choice I had no choice to my fate. It was predetermined by the warmongering hypocrites in Washington." And that is I found that in it's a website. It's Vietnam Protest is the name of the article where I found it. This soldier in the war feels very strongly about the war. He feels that the reason that he died was because he was forced to die by the people in the warmongering, obsessed government of America. He wrote this letter so that if he did die, I spelled he as E-H. He wrote this letter so that if he did die, he was how can I say this? He wrote this letter so that if he did die, okay, I need to work on that one a little bit. I need to switch it around or something. He was hoping that he could make a difference and sway the public opinion, even just a little. Keith feels that he died in vain, but hopes that from his letter he can save other people from dying in vain also. This is just one of many examples of people's negative opinions on the Vietnam War. Tim O'Brien's book, The Thing They Carried, through metafiction exposes what the Vietnam War was actually like and gives a cynical view of the motives for going to war in the first place. Tim O'Brien did not like the fact that he was forced to fight a war that he did not support, but in the end it turned out well for him because he was able to take the experiences that he got in Vietnam and write about them and fulfill his dream of becoming a writer. There we go. Done. Alright, so I just have a few more things, and then I will be done with this 4-page essay. Okay, so thank you guys for sticking through and watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. And yeah, anyways, see you later.